Sometimes creating a great Heroscape map can be daunting. For those of us who have been playing since the beginning of the game back in 2004, it's very common that we might have a collection that looks something like this. And where do you begin, right? There's so many pieces, so many different options, and it can almost just feel like a chore more than anything. But with this video, I'm going to show you how to build an awesome map that will get your friends more than excited to play Heroscape. Alright, so this collection of terrain here is a large combination of classic Heroscape along with modern. We have a lot of the Agent of Annihilation stuff as well as the old stuff like the Fortress of the Arch-Kyrie. And for this map in particular, I plan to have a large tower at the center of the map, and that will be, of course, made with the Fortress of the Arch-Kyrie sets here. But for new players, it's pretty likely that they're not going to have these sets because they're just very expensive right now and hard to get. So I'm going to start by that and quickly skim through the process of making that in a time lapse, and then I'll cut back to real time to explain my process of building the rest. But the first step, in my opinion, is to separate everything out by the type of piece like I've done here. And this just makes it a lot easier to find things. It's a quicker process. You have an idea of how much you really have of everything, and it can help a lot. So let's go ahead and get this tower built. Alright, so clearly I don't have enough fortress sets to create what I wanted to. I was not, from just 2 fortress sets, it seems I don't have enough of this piece. I wanted this to be wider, and I wanted it to be equally tall on all sides. But this works out in the long run because it allows people to actually reach in and move the guys when probably they would not have been able to otherwise. So here we go. Here's the Wizard's Tower, and that is 2 that is 2 Fortress of the Arch-Kyrie sets that required, and you know, a lot of people probably don't have 2 of those, but you know, we'll get on to the rest of the building now. So the next thing you want to do, I'm going to set this aside and worry about it when we get there. All of these pieces will be set aside because I might end up using them. I have kind of an idea for a little bridge leading to the castle. But the next thing you want to do is set up your base layer. And for me, this is gonna be, basically I wanna make a map that's got a pretty tall, like almost a up on a hill type of deal where the tower's at. And we're gonna just jump straight to these big pieces here. So you might be wondering, like, man, I have all these different colored pieces and all these different themes, but I don't really need all those. How am I gonna make a map as big as I wanna make when I only have this many of the ones I want, and then the rest of mine are these pieces? Well, the simple answer is just to use those on the bottom layers. That way you can cover more ground and save your good pieces for the top layer that's going to be visible. So the first thing I'm going to do here is build the hill area to go under the tower. And let's go ahead and start that.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, I jumped ahead a little bit. The first layer is not completely done, and that is because of the limitations of my table and having all of my pieces scattered about. But now I'm actually just moving on to another layer. I'm pretty much going to build the central hill at the center of the map where the tower is going to stand. And so typically I think, yes, you would build the first layer first, but in situations like this, it might be beneficial to build in sections and build up and then go on to the rest once you have cleared more space. All right, here you can see how I used the undesirable pieces, or the ones that were not fitting the theme of this map, to build an internal layer of this hill that I'm going to be building up and building around. And now I'm going to move on to the higher levels and then slowly start to build around it so that I can make that section. Okay, I have built up the central hill section high enough to place the tower, but now we have this issue of all this very high terrain and still some exposed terrain that we don't want there. So now I'm going to have to use my other pieces to start covering that up and building some staggered layers so that it's traversable. And that is the next step. Okay, here's what we're looking at so far. So I used the rock tiles to make this sort of mountain-esque hill area, and covered up all of the ugly tiles that don't fit. I've placed a lot of gradual stair-stepping terrain for people to get some height advantage and whatnot. I might actually place something right here so they can get up even higher. Just to make it a little easy for people to get some height advantage. And yeah, there's a lot of different terrain stuff going on here. And now what I'm going to do is probably fill out the rest of the bottom layer and then build bridges coming off on both sides. So this is a relatively balanced map to a degree. Maybe not entirely balanced, but for the most part, you know, we're both starting in similar areas. This one's a little closer, but that one, I don't know. I mean, it's not the most balanced, but this is the base start. And now I'm gonna start building some different decor, putting some trees and some ruins and bridges, and yeah, we will continue. Okay, you may have noticed I spent quite a long time on that part, and here's the unfortunate truth about map building. If you don't plan in advance using Virtualscape or something like that, you will quickly find that you're just short of the pieces needed. I wanted to have another bridge like this over on this side, but unfortunately that was not working, so I had to compromise. This is not high enough to use these, so I couldn't do that with a ladder. And yeah, I just had to figure out a different solution. So that was my solution. And yep, now I will continue. There it is. Now, something to consider when playing a map like this, is it's very congested. There's a lot of stuff, and it would be actually quite difficult for large figures to traverse it. You know, unless they have flying or something. But just something to keep in mind. But yes, here's the ocean and the beach with all the palm trees and everything. And there's the tower in the center. We come over here to a little forest, and there it is. One team on one side, one team on the other. And that is our map. Thank you guys for watching the video. That's basically how it's done. Make a cool map that would be fun to play on. And some good news about this, I've gotten a lot of requests from people in the comments that they actually want to see a game being played on one of these maps that I make. So we're gonna do that. That's gonna be a video coming up, is a game played on this exact map. And thanks again for watching. Please like and subscribe. There will be plenty more Heroscape content to come. And check out my book on Amazon, The Price of Renewal, my first novel that I have published and released. And yeah, thanks again, everyone. Hit the subscribe button for more.